On November 5th, 2024, the United States will elect its 47th president. The candidates are running on many issues, ranging from abortion to immigration. One of these issues is taxation. Many candidates have proposals for tax reforms, but they differ in various ways. When deciding what candidate has the best plan, one must ask oneself what effects these proposed reforms could have. From this inquiry stems an important question: what would be the ideal system for taxation in the United States? This video will explore the benefits and drawbacks of various taxes to make a recommendation as to which would be ideal for America. According to a report by the Internal Revenue Service, the United States collected $4.7 trillion in taxes in 2023. The way that the government collects this money can have a huge effect on businesses, wealthy individuals, and even the lifestyles of everyday citizens. For instance, the U.S. Office of the Historian reports the American Revolution was precipitated in part by a series of laws passed between 1763 and 1775 that regulated trade and taxes. This meant that the tax system was partially responsible for the Revolutionary War, a very substantial event. Therefore, a good tax system must take responsibly to minimize disruption to the economy and people's lives. It's important to find out what such a system could look like so that it could be implemented or worked toward. The most impactful tax in the United States is income tax, composing 86.8% of the federal government's 2023 tax revenue. One type of income tax is a flat tax, which is an income tax where everyone pays the same rate. Gannon Evans, an author for the Kansas Policy Institute, argues that flat income taxes are easy to understand and implement because they can be calculated using a simple formula, and fair because they charge everyone the same rate. However, Eli Burley Duke, an author for the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, disputes the former claim, arguing that flat income taxes are not meaningfully simpler because tax exemptions and other such complications require additional documentation regardless. Additionally, income tax calculations for more complex taxation methods can be automatically calculated using software or a tax accountant at no extra cost in time or money relative to tax preparation under a flat tax structure. Regarding the latter point, taxing everyone at the same rate is not fair. If someone needs $5,000 to feed themselves for a year and makes $30,000 in a year, they pay 17% of their income for food. However, for someone who makes $100,000 per year, they would only need to pay 5% of their income for food. This serves as one example of how people with lower incomes need proportionally more of their money to purchase what they need. Therefore, taxing everyone at the same rate is not fair, meaning that a flat income tax would not be featured in the ideal system for taxation in the United States. The other main type of income tax, and the one currently in use by the federal government, is the progressive income tax. This tax is defined as a tax that charges the rich a greater percentage of their income than the poor. Investopedia alleges that a progressive tax system reduces the tax burden on those who can least afford to pay. This aligns with earlier logic, as taxing the poor less would allow them to spend more of their money on what they need. Furthermore, Investopedia adds that a progressive tax system tends to collect more taxes than flat taxes or regressive taxes because the highest percentage is collected from those with the highest amounts of money. This would be advantageous because those who make the most money use the smallest portion of their income on essentials, meaning that they would be least detrimented by increased taxation. Moreover, the higher tax revenue earned by a progressive income tax could be of much aid to the government and citizens, funding social programs, research, education, and everything else that the government does. However, almost nothing comes with unmitigated benefits. The same Investopedia article reports that opponents of the progressive income tax argue that it's a disincentive to success. This initially seems logical because progressive income taxes tax those who make more money at a higher rate. Therefore, people will make less money if they experience success than they otherwise would. However, the effect of this is lessened by the simple fact that a progressive tax would still allow the successful to reap a large portion of the benefits of their success. For instance, progressive tax wouldn't stop a multimillionaire from getting a mansion. The worst it could do would be to force them to get a more modest one. With this in mind, it seems as though the ideal income tax would be progressive, to lessen the burden on people of lower income and take advantage of the high disposable income of the wealthy, even if it slightly disincentivizes success. Income tax is the base of the modern American tax system, but there are many other types of taxes. A significant one is the wealth tax, defined as a tax on the value of everything owned by a person. A paper by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development argues that a high progressive savings tax may help prevent large wealth accumulation over generations. This aspect of the wealth tax would benefit the economy because familial wealth that would otherwise be left unused would be spent by the government and put back into circulation. Additionally, an Investopedia article claims that the wealth tax takes money from those who don't really need it. This makes sense because those with wealth are, by their nature, people who have money that they don't spend. Therefore, taxing those people for their extra money will not affect their lifestyle much, if even at all. However, this comes with a caveat. Investopedia alleges that illiquid assets present an issue for a wealth tax. Owners of significant illiquid assets may lack ready cash to pay for their wealth tax liability. This could pose an issue for instance, some homeowners, farmers, or the owners of hunting grounds or trails. A solution for this could be to make exemptions for low-cost housing and property that directly contributes to the economy, like farmland, or is frequently used for recreational purposes, amongst other things. While this would make the base for wealth tax smaller, including exemptions would avoid making the tax regressive and difficult to pay. But how much would a wealth tax even make? After all, including a new tax in the system for little effect would be pointless. According to data from the Federal Reserve, the top 10% of U.S. households own $95.95 trillion in assets. If this wealth were taxed at even 2%, which is far below what most investments make, it would raise $1.92 trillion, amounting to a whopping 40.8% increase in the federal tax revenue. Even more could be raised with a progressive wealth tax. With this in mind, it seems as though a wealth tax would surely be worth the potential logistical and legislative issues. In conclusion, after analyzing a few types of taxes, it can be determined that the best system for taxation in the United States would include a progressive income tax and a wealth tax with exemptions to stop it from being regressive or unpayable. Although some, particularly the wealthy, would object to this system where they would be taxed at a higher rate, the benefits for the average citizen and the economy are apparent. We must inform our representatives of the effects of these taxes and support those who, even if they don't promote this exact recipe, endorse tax reforms that will improve our country. In the perpetual political war of ideas and ideologies, your vote is your greatest weapon.